Good day to everybody. Thank you for being here today. After some months of break, we are very pleased, Dr. Ann Hilty and I, Yasmin Darwich, very pleased to continue with our webinars. And thank you because many of you asked us to back to this task that we really love and we really like to do it. And today we have a very special webinar about leadership, of course. And our speakers are Dawne Williams, currently Regional Coordinator of BPW North America and the Caribbean, and Otoha Hayashi from BPW Japan. She is the immediate young BPW Asia-Pacific past regional coordinator. And she also is an operation and event management specialist. Sorry, Dawne Williams, your CV is bank president, former, and current financial services and management consultant. Adenike Osadolor, she is a past Africa BPW regional coordinator. She is from Nigeria, and she is the owner and CEO of a publishing company. Semiramis Casas, she is from BPW Mexico. She is currently the Federation President, and she is a university lecturer and entrepreneur, coffee entrepreneur, as one of the hills. Sheerah Kim from BPW Switzerland. She's a specialist in communication, team leader from BPW Europe, and Senior Analyst Corporate Strategy and Development. Carmen Taheny from BPW Ireland. She is currently the Secretary of the European Coordinator Committee and immediate past Federation President of BPW Ireland. She is a corporate account manager for a children's charity organization. Thank you very much. Thank you for accept to be our speakers, and thank you for all of you who are today attending to this webinar. And we will start with Dawne Williams. Am I correct? Dawne, the floor is yours. Thank you. You are on mute, Dawne.
On mute. Good, yeah. Good morning, all. It's such a pleasure to be with you once more. The essence of leadership, the essence of anything, is that critically important part which is fundamental or vital to its existence, without which the main ingredient is lacking. So it's that permanent element always required, and that's what I call the secret sauce. It's the heart, the soul, the spirit, and the core. Actually, it's the principle on which all else stands. So based on that definition then, the essence of leadership is that critically important part of leadership which is fundamental or vital to leading. Those of us who lead people must distinguish ourselves from managers who really manage paper and results. And we do so by ensuring our leadership is based on key leadership principles, which by definition are the main ingredients, competencies, and those permanent elements required. The essence of leadership is to move from a comfortable command and control approach to an uncomfortable requirement to empower, to coach, to facilitate, and to educate. And as we do this, we must do so against a background or backdrop of emotional intelligence, because that is the heart, the soul, the spirit, the leadership of leadership, that secret sauce we spoke to earlier. So the essence of leadership, therefore, is the core principle on which all else stands. So there are some constituent parts of the essence of leadership. Building trust. By building relationships based on honesty, integrity, and transparency. We must empower others, and to do so, we must delegate part of our duties. We must be committed to the task. We must include others. So inclusivity is important, because when you involve others, you allow them to let all their creative juices flow. We must communicate effectively, remembering that communication is a cycle. You have a remitter, you have a receiver. And we also must ensure that our verbal and non-verbal are in sync. What attitude do we bring to this leadership? Because that attitude sets the direction, and that's the course on which we'll stay. Are we open and engaging instead of being self-centered and self-seeking? We must remember that in leadership, it's not all about you, it's about us. Valuing diversity. We live in a world where we are diverse on many levels, and as leaders, the essence of leadership is valuing that diversity. Leading is serious work, but it also can be fun, so we need to lighten up. Team working, we get things done through others. No woman is an island. So team working is one of those essence of leadership. It's one of those constituent parts of the essence of leadership. What about, are you a role model? Are we leading by example? Because that's how we'll inspire others and become that positive influencer. Do we have the knowledge, the facts? Do we know our constitution? Do we know our governance? Because that's how we will lead with confidence and be able to convince others. As leaders, do we motivate? Do we inspire? Because that's when we bring out the best in our people. Do we wait to react, or are we proactive? Because when we are proactive, we keep the focus on what's the next best step for the organization and the people that it serves. Are we flexible? Because flexibility is one of those constituent parts that help us to make informed decisions, even in the onslaught of crisis. Are we enabling and empowering and creating that environment for our members to thrive and grow? We must remember that we get things done through our members. So we must enable them and empower them and create that environment in which they can thrive and grow. Are we emotionally intelligent? How do we take actions? Do we think first, then feel the emotion, and then act, or the reverse? We must remember in an emotionally intelligent environment, we think first, we feel the emotion after, and then we act. As BPW leaders, it is important to remember that BPW is based on volunteerism, and it is therefore vital to show appreciation and value our members, their time, their input, and their diversity. Let us keep the real purpose of BPW in mind and never lose sight of the essence of leadership. As I leave you, I leave you to reflect on some key ingredients in the essence of leadership. Your attitude, your ability to delegate, your ability to motivate, teamwork, honesty, humor, positivity, proactivity, be able to facilitate, focus, be flexible, your integrity, your inclusivity, how do you inspire others? Do you educate, enable, empower, engage, and do so against a backdrop of emotional intelligence? You coach, commit, create, communicate, exude confidence, and convince others. As I conclude, I wanted to leave you with this quote: be that leader every woman aspires to become. Thank you very much for your time. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dawne. Now our next panelist is Otoha from BPW Japan. Could you please, Otoha, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Yasmin. Hello, everyone. My name is Otoha from BPW Japan, Tokyo Club. So when you think about the word leadership, I guess we all think about a lot of aspects. And, it could be someone who is good at giving us, guidance, someone who can be great to talk to when you're feeling sad, someone who is good at everything. But depending on some situation, it could be someone who is very great, has a great appearance, charming appearance, and that will be that everybody would feel like, this person is worthy of representing your group. But I personally believe that this depends on the situation, or it could be depending on what kind of clubs or a team or organization you're in. So the essence can be different, is what I think. So I decided to focus on what is the essence of leadership when it comes to the kind of organization like we are in, BPW International. So personally, I believe that this is someone who can show us the vision of where we want to be as a group. So someone who can show us where we want to head to in the future. And, so that we all agree and then we all feel like we are united is what I think. Because in my opinion, someone who is good at managing us, or someone who is good at talking to is a great leader we want to have in a workplace. For example, in an office, we definitely want someone who's good at doing anything and everything. If you made a huge mistake at work, someone who can cover for you, nurture you, etc. But in a big organization who is all volunteers, trying to aim for the equality for women in the world, I believe this is someone who can show us our goal, our vision, and not a fuzzy one, but someone who can enlighten us with where we head to, is what I think. So that will be my opinion on the essence of leadership in the BPW.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Otoha. I would like to introduce to all of you Adenike Osadolor from BPW Nigeria. Are you ready, Adenike? No? Yes, no? Okay, so I think that we can pass to the mic to Semiramis.
I was muted.
Ah, okay. Are you there? Okay, thank you. Thank you.
I was muted. Yes, sorry. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon, Adenike. Can we see you? It is possible.
Oh, it's my internet. Anne decided I should on,
That's
put
okay.
off my video because it can interfere with my internet. Yeah, that's why I will put it on. I will put it back on when I'm through. Good afternoon, everybody. It's my pleasure to share my views on the topic, the essence of leadership. First, let me thank the organizers for granting me voice on this platform. And I see the platform as a good initiative and a veritable tool for the training and retraining of our members. And this is more so in these challenging times of the coronavirus pandemic, when physical meetings are restricted. Leadership, as we all know, is a well-thrashed concept, and there are many theories propounded on it that cannot be shared in 5 minutes. But I have enough time to briefly share my personal thoughts on what I consider to be the essence of leadership and relating it specifically to BPW International. For me, when I hear the word leadership, what pops up in my mind is what I have termed the double S: service and selflessness. If you like, you can take the two together, and that will give you selfless service, because the two words are not necessarily mutually exclusive. Traveling the length and breadth of Africa as regional coordinator for Africa between 2017 from members, especially new members, was always, what do I stand to gain from membership of BPW? In a recent orientation training in my own local club for our newly elected executive board, the same question came up. When faced with such a question, I always respond that when you join an organization with such a singular, restricted focus, you lose out on several other benefits that can accrue from membership, like personal and professional development, lifelong friendship, cultural understanding, and many more. John F.K. Kennedy said it long ago, and we can apply it here. Do not ask what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country. Replace country with organization. So when I talk about leadership, therefore, in service, when leadership is based on service that is not self-serving, one, the leader does not consider herself more important than the led. In the case of BPW International specifically, which is member-driven rather than CEO-led, the leader sees herself, or should see herself, as always answerable to the members. She puts the interest of the organization above her. She sees herself and operates as an influencer rather than an autocrat. That is, she builds relationships with others to jointly achieve set goals. And that's because she realizes, as we say in my culture, a tree cannot make a forest. 4, she would incorporate empathy into her style of leadership. In the specific case of BPW, she will be sensitive to the diversity of the organization and therefore imbibe the culture of inclusion. Of course, this list is by no means exhaustive. In concluding, therefore, talking about this double S, service and selflessness, I would like to close with a quotation from an anonymous author. And it goes thus: if serving is below you, then leadership is beneath you. Thank you for your attention. Long live BPW International.
Thank you very much, Adenike. Now, I'm glad to introduce Semiramis Casas from my federation. BPW Mexico. She is the national president. Semiramis, the floor is yours. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Yasmin. Thank you, everyone, and thank you for being here. I will start with the question, what is the essence of the leadership? Well, for me, being a leader is not just about reporting, a team reporting to you. A good leader must also inspire and at the same time hold their ground in situations where their ideas are challenged. A leader has to have empathy and humility to understand the others and to work with them. Also in any leadership role, a healthy self-esteem is necessary, but not an ego person. I mean, we can follow a nobody model which encourage leaders to operate away from the spotlights and to collaborate and encourage new ideas, restore trust, and being a good leader. I think also that a good leader has to develop his own patent signatures, being original, but always considering their peers and know exactly when a harm is being caused and find a solution. Three characteristics of a good leader, I think that it's that has to be clarity, has to have clarity of purpose, because it will promote shared meaning and coordinate action. Has to choice is vital. It has to choice because a leader must take decision to make the organization grow. And also, without commitment, the vision will remain merely an idea and empty promises. So my personal experience in BPW has been an inspiration, inspire people to action, touch their hearts and minds, work with and for others, to encourage women to achieve goals. And considering that leadership is an activity that infuses energy into our organization and activate its people and other resources to get things moving and keep them in motion, I have to say that I have found most of these characteristics in BPW people, and that's why we are an international organization. The leadership in BPW, I think, must continue being flexible and responsive to the association, must be inclusive in order to improve our world. In BPW, I think and feel we build bridges and empower those around them, maintaining our values, being diligent and consistently hardworking. And a fair example of this is these webinars that are organized to improve communication despite of the pandemic, despite of our diversity, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Semiramis. And now we can ask Carmen, from former past national president from BPW Ireland, Carmen Taheny. Are you there? Can you see you? Yes, you're on mute, Carmen. As I mentioned, she is currently the Secretary of the European Coordinator Committee. Thank you, Carmen, for accepting to be our speaker. Thank you. The floor is yours.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here and to see all the familiar faces that I really missed over the last few months. So I'm delighted that you're here today to listen to me, and also probably lot of the speakers have said similar things, but this happens when you come down the line to speak. Anyway, good leadership may be different for everyone, but what is common is that we all crave leadership. We want to look up and see someone who extols our own virtues and ideals, and to be inspired to move onwards and upwards. We want someone strong and someone we are proud of to be associated with as we strive to a common goal. So this is what I see as the essence of leadership. In the absence of good leadership, we see every day that people will follow poor or weak leaders. Herein lies major problems and perhaps an understanding as to how so many poor leaders do well in organizations and in government. It explains how some stars have millions of followers all going nowhere. To paraphrase a well-known saying, in order for poor leaders to thrive, it only requires good women to do nothing. We do not recognize it, but women were natural leaders and makers of leaders. From the moment we hold our toddlers' hands as they navigate the world for the first time, we are leaders. From the moment we encourage our child onto the stage of life, we are makers of leaders. So this is an extraordinary power, and for me, that is the heart of true leadership. Why then do we rarely recognize leadership skills in ourselves, even allow this power to be taken away from us by those who shout loudest? Perhaps for too long, we've all grown up with a picture of leadership that almost always was a man. Thankfully, that is changing, and we delight in the growing number of female government and organizational leaders, but not only fantastic performances that we see from these talented ladies. There are plenty of role models for our daughters and granddaughters to follow. At the moment, women are also shining examples of vital and effective leadership in the pandemic response. Countries with women who are head of state, such as Denmark, Finland, Iceland, New Zealand, Germany, and Slovakia, have been internationally recognized for the effectiveness of their response to the pandemic. These women leaders were proactive in responding to the threat of the virus, implementing social distancing restrictions early, seeking expert advice to inform health strategies, and unifying the country around a comprehensive response with transparent and compassionate communication. So within BPW, we have the ability to lead. And just as importantly, we can hold the hand of our younger members and show them the way. We can put ourselves forward for leadership positions, to share our life experiences, and also help each other to step up to be leaders. And we can value both these roles equally, leadership and the makers of leaders. This can be our strength today and the strength in the future of BPW. It is true we do this already as a natural part of the BPW experience. We support the further with excellent training programs. We celebrate each other's successes. This is our business as usual. But what we do not do is call this leadership and recognize that we are great leaders of women. We forget that we do not have to look outside our own BPW clubs, federations, regions, etc., to look for leadership. We already have it. We need to recognize it and celebrate it as good leadership. So if I go back to what I said at the beginning, we crave leadership. We are inspired by it. If we call out that BPW has a place for leaders and makers of leaders, that our members are trained, encouraged, and celebrated for their leadership skills, then we showcase what BPW is about. We will provide a safe space to hone our leadership skills and then to launch into society to make a difference and to be a role model for others. So that's me.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Carmen. So now our panelists from BPW Switzerland, Sheerah Kim. Hello, Sheerah.
Hi.
Hi, she's young BPW. She's from Switzerland. She's currently the communication team leader to BPW Europe, and she is an analyst and corporate strategic and development. Thank you very much, Sheerah. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. And sorry for being like 2 minutes late because I was still commuting and I have some crutches, so I'm very slow at walking. So, I mean, we've heard all great stories and all, I think, perspectives on essence of leadership. Thank you all the panelists to share their opinion on this. I have the great honor to be also part of BPW Europe task force with respect to lifelong learning. So there is actually an ongoing workshop and training on leadership organized by that task force that I'm attending. And I'm attending 3 sessions right now. And last session, that was last Friday, there was actually a list being shared with us on what are the 6 traits of an inclusive leader. And I totally agree also with Otoha saying there are different versions of leadership, and based on the situation or the current environment we're in, we can actually apply different styles of leadership. But the 6 traits of inclusive leaders that they shared at the training were visible commitment, humility, courage, awareness of bias, which I personally think is really, really important to be self-reflective, curiosity, and also curiosity about others' ideas, cultural intelligence, and effective collaboration. I think the last one obviously has been mentioned a lot for BPW per se, but I also think that cultural intelligence is very, very important. I've lived and worked in Singapore, and I'm originally from Korea, so my parents live in Korea, and I currently work and live in Switzerland. So based on the culture where you're in, not only from the country basis, but actually the culture in the company and the culture that is also in organizations like ours in BPW is very much important to be agile in our leadership styles to cater actually for the environment we're in. And I do believe that this is an essential piece to become an inclusive leader, and that we should strive for to have the awareness of non-biased approach in working with other people and other cultures. Another aspect that was done, a small exercise that we've done in the training, which I really, really liked, was we're supposed to create this word cloud of what do we identify in a good leader. So a lot of words were typed in, but the key 5 words that everyone was repeating was honesty, growth, integrity, ethical practice, and independence. And for me personally, what I identify with the most is probably independence and ethical practice, because if you feel free in what you do and truly authentically can portray what you believe in, I think it's a natural consequence that we inspire others to follow our lead. So to be a leader means there are also people that follow because you inspire them and motivate them and engage them to do what they believe in. And by authentically practicing this, let's say, inclusivity, I think we all become better leaders. For me, also the essence of leadership is to recognize and to be humble that we all make mistakes. There should be a culture where failure is allowed. And this is what I personally also value in BPW. I've been many years in BPW, and it has been a safe place for me to experiment on my management skills, on different other like personal empowerment skills that I've learned within BPW, because I feel safe. I feel I'm in a safe environment to experiment, and failure culture is there. And that's why I'm happy to be also the team lead for communications in BPW Europe, which does not only mean that I make everything perfect, but I have a trial and error together with the coordination team, and that we move forward, that we have growth through that process. So that's for me, and I think someone is sharing. I'll be giving it back to you, Yasmin.
Okay, thanks, Sheerah. Actually, it's back to me this time. We're switching hats. So thanks very much, Sheerah. That was an accidental sharing, and we've stopped that now. And before we open it up to all of you, who I'm sure many of you have comments or even questions for our speakers, probably your own views on this topic as well. First, I'd like to go to Dr. Yasmin and ask for her to share her thoughts on this topic.
Thank you very much, Anne. Thank you. And we never stop to learn. I also decided to register in the leader training from BPW Europe, and it was so interesting. As a medical doctor, I never thought that I will need to learn how to be a leader, because in your office, when you practice medicine, it's not very usual that you need this kind of skills. But after so many years in BPW, more than 40 years in BPW, and holding so many positions, but you never stop to learn about how to treat others. This is, for me, the main essence: how to treat others, how to encourage others, to do something, to focus in some objectives in the benefit of others. As Adenike says, is service. It's not self-service. It's the service that we provide to others, our time, our skills, our motivations. And of course, I agree with all of you, and I think that is in all the leadership training courses and books. Honesty, integrity, it's an essential values that we always look in a leader. Thank you very much to all of you. And I think that we will open the panel to everybody. And am I correct? Thank you. Now the floor is yours, Dan.
Thanks, Dr. Yasmin. Okay, so actually the floor is open. So if you would like to speak, if you can either use the raised hand function or raise your hand, but we do have two screens, so I'll be flipping back and forth to see who would like to speak. So just bear with me on that. It's nice that we have two full screens of people in the room. So who would like to jump in first? Who would like to share with us or ask a question, as you wish? Do we see any hands?
Not yet. Yes.
Okay, Francesca. And if everyone else could maybe mute.
Good morning, everyone. It's so nice to see everyone again. And thank you, Anne and Yasmin, for doing this. So I just have a brief comment. First of all, thank you to all the speakers. I thought you all did a terrific job. One of the most important things about being a leader is building a team. No one can do anything alone and really lead. And it is so important to spend time really building the foundation of teamwork. And if you don't have that foundation and it's not a team that's working together, very little gets accomplished. There's a lot of competition and competitiveness. And so team building is really one of the most important elements of leadership. Thank you.
Thanks, Francesca. I would add to that that it makes the leader's job that much easier if we can delegate and work together with a team. The one who tries to do it all is not only controlling, but she's going to be exhausted. There's no doubt. Okay, who else would like to jump in? Nilima, can I call on you?
Hello, everyone. Yeah, yes, I this leadership is something, it's been confusing for me for like a couple of months for me, not just of BPW, but also because of what's happening in my country right now. The thing is that we say that leadership is all about, creating more leaders and all this thing. It looks nice. It sounds good, right? But the way, I am like mentoring a lot of young BPW mentors. At the same time, I'm a part of this group, which is giving political literacy for women in Nepal. And it's so confusing for me to tell the young girls, what, just a second. No, my kid is like, no, no, sorry. So it's so, sometimes I get confused. Like we say that we need to follow rules, follow the constitutions, we need to be a good leader. You need to follow everything that is right, but to see people, break all the rules and then get through it, in Nepal, we had such a thing in the politics. While people are dying with COVID right now, the politicians were busy, with their politics, and they were breaking all the constitutions. And even they got, through it. Nobody were there. There were people complaining, but then to see all the bad people, all these people, get into a leadership role, I don't know what to tell to the young girls to, follow the rules and wait for your turn, or to, be a part of this people who break all the rules and then get through it. So this is something I would like to ask everyone here in this room, because all of you here, if I scroll 45 people here, I know you all are leaders. Have you ever in your life felt that you could get certain, things easily if you broke the rule, So I know, I hope somebody understands what I'm talking about, because in last few months, I've been feeling that, you know, leadership is not only about being, selfless. Maybe I need to learn to be selfish as well. So I would like to ask everyone over here, whoever is ready to answer to my question about this, how you feel about this part.
Okay. So I've got Liz with the raised hand. I don't know if Liz is wanting to answer or respond to your question, or if she wants to share her own thoughts. Liz is next, and then Miriam Killer, you're next after Liz. So I've got the next two. Liz, go ahead.
Thank you, everybody. Can you see me? My internet is very unstable today, so hopefully I'm going to take my video off because it'll probably stop. I just wanted to say, Nelima, you are always so wise, and you truly are a leader, my dear, and you're going to be a role model for so many in our organization. I think what I'd like to say is, for our organization, to always look at our mission statement, which is that we develop the business, professional, and leadership potential of women on all levels. And we say that we do that through advocacy, education, networking, mentoring, skill building, and economic empowerment and programs. So that's what should be guiding us at all times. But I also think we need to, as leaders, have empathy. And more to Nelima's thought here is, the one thing that seems to be truly missing is the accountability, that our governance, that we all strive so hard to have governance to lead and guide us in our organizations that is fair for everybody. Because governance means there's no favoritism. Governance means the rules are the same for everybody. So it takes out a lot of judgmental stuff. Just follow the rules of how we're supposed to run the organization and adhere to what we want to move it forward. So the one thing that is something that is lacking is that accountability. And to your point, Nelima, politicians never seem to be accountable, and it looks like it's an issue in our organizations today. So it is something that we should strive for, to bring that to the table. Where's the accountability when things are not being done as they should be? Because we all collectively have a stake in that governance. We all collectively made it happen. at our congresses, at our meetings, though that is a collective set of rules. And so collectively, we should be making sure that there is accountability when it's not being followed. So that's all I wanted to say today. And thanks to all the speakers again, you were terrific. And thanks, Anne, and thanks, Yasmin, for continuing to have these webinars. Thank you.
Thanks, Liz. So next we have Miriam. After her, we'll have Chantal and then Helen. We've got 3 in the lineup at the moment. So Miriam, please.
Hi. First of all, thank you for organizing. This is the first time I joined the international webinars, so I'm really excited. And it's not that late here, so it's only, I think it's 11 o'clock. So I just wanted to say to Nelima that I totally understand her. And actually, in my case, that's why I left Mexico, because I couldn't handle the corruption, basically, and the unsafety. So it's really overwhelming when you feel you can't do anything about it. And with everything that's been happening with BPW International, I felt the same. But I have to say that at the moment, I live in Australia, and I'm actually going through a situation at work where I actually felt like, oh my God, I moved all the way across the world to a different country, and I thought things would be better. Well, let me tell you, they're not. It's like you can find bad people everywhere. So I think what I've learned is that I do what I believe is right, and I can sleep at night, and at least I did my part. And then if the others don't do anything about it, then it's not up to me, because those are the things I cannot control. But I think that as long as I am true to myself, everywhere I am, in Mexico, in Australia, at work, at BPW, I think for me, it's setting an example. And I don't know what the effect will be in the long term, but I know that I'm doing the right thing. And I think that if people see others doing the right thing, it'll be more likely that others will also start standing up to things. So I think, in a way, I think what you say is very true. It's sometimes I've actually asked myself that question. Sometimes I've actually said, I wish I could be like them, because maybe if I could be like them, I would be rewarded, because I see it as a reward. Like you are bad and you are rewarded. But then at the same time, I'm like, well, I think I'm struggling a bit more to get there, but I feel like I actually earned it. So I think for me, that's very important. And I just want to say that I would love to know what others have to say about this, because I think sometimes I just wonder if we can actually really make a better world. I just wonder how we can actually achieve that, because sometimes it feels really lonely. That's all.
Thanks, Miriam. Thank you. Okay, so we have Chantal and then Helen and then Dawn, and we might be out of time by then. We'll wait and see. Chantal, you're next.
Hello, Chantal Fraser from Canada. My answer is to be audacious, and it builds on what the others said, and that means to ask for what you want and to lobby for what you want, to lobby for the change, because sometimes when we ask for things that others seem to think is impossible, then we can get a movement happening. And don't take no for an answer. And I'm going to give you an example to explain how not taking no for an answer can actually work. BPW Canada, just like all the other BPWs internationally, has a constitution, and we have bylaws, and we have all these rules and regulations. And sometimes it seems to be crushing the soul and creativity out of the individual clubs and the members. And the example I'm going to share about how several of our clubs in Canada made a change, which had a big impact for several clubs, was that my club used to be BPW Trenton and District. The city where I live is no longer called Trenton. The next city over, the BPW club folded. And for years, we've been trying to figure out a way to bring the two clubs together, but we couldn't change our name and bring the clubs together without losing our history, because that was against our constitution. So I said, so why can't we change the constitution? And our club talked about it, and we recommended a change. It was actually our bylaws, but we found other clubs that were interested in changing their names to reflect the geographic region where they are now, because names change. And we lobbied last year, we were able to change our bylaws so that we could change our name. So now my club is BPW Hastings and Prince Edward, which is also the name of our electoral district, which means when we lobby our elected officials, we're lobbying on a greater geographic region, and it's allowing us to attract members from a greater geographic region. So we were told, no way, it's never going to happen. You'll lose your history. We changed the bylaws to state that we get to keep our history, and we were previously known as Trenton and District, so we got to keep that 70 years of history. So be audacious. Don't take no for an answer. Be the change you want to see, just like the other speaker said. Thank you.
Thanks, Chantal. Great. Okay, next we have Helen, and then I think Dr. Yasmin would like to jump back in for our last words. Go ahead, Helen.
Thank you, Anne, and thank you, Yasmin, for putting these series on. And I think I need to echo everything that everybody else has said. They have been long overdue, and we've missed the ability to actually share some wonderful ideas with some amazing women. But I'd like to address what Nalima said, and being a local government politician and someone who holds a senior role in local government in our country, or in my city, I think it's important, Nalima, do not let these people that exhibit bad behaviour to emulate it. Please stay true, hold to the integrity and the honesty and the values that you have, and they will win through. But, you know, just because some people like to find shortcuts, they will be found out. It won't be a trait that people will follow for long, and hopefully when you go to the next election, you'll actually use your vote in a constructive way and look to support those people that have vision, that actually show vision in their leadership styles, that empower people to actually meet and exceed their expectations, and that they're the enablers that you want them to be. So when you're empowering these young women to be the leaders, the next generation, please just make sure that it's transparency, accountability, and integrity, and hold those values. And don't ever let anyone tell you to prostitute yourself just to get to be in a position of power or influence, because it won't last long. It is just an apparition. So I admire everything that these women have all said, and thank you. And it's great to be in this forum again. Thank you, Yasmin and Anne.
Thanks, Helen. I'm going to turn it over one more time to Dr. Yasmin.
Thank you very much. I think that what all of you is the truth, and the point of Nalima and Miriam, it's concerns to us. When we talk about politicians, maybe we expect that, but when we talk about an NGO that is to support others, and in our case to defend the rights of women, what surprised me sometimes is that we keep quiet. And I said, look, if you are not able to fight for your rights inside a BPW, then how can you fight for the rights of others outside BPW? So I think that we have to be clear that we are in a democratic organization, that everybody in the club level, national level, regional level, international level are elected to serve, not to serve one person, to serve the organization. Sometimes I hear that, oh, thank you because I have this position because of you. No, you have the position because you were elected by the assembly of your club, of your federation, or the international. So, and you were elected, and everybody expect the values from you to defend the governance of BPW International, not to follow only one person. Here is Bessie Hieronymus. I appreciate a lot her, and she's also a long-term member. And when I became an international president, she gave me a wonderful advice the president preside, the executive decide. And this is a role that we have as a leaders of a club or in our business or in at any level, to be conscious that we are part of a team. We were elected for a specific function, and we have to raise our voice always, no matter what. Thank you. And
thanks, Yasmin. Before I wrap up the session, which I'll do in a moment, I would like to give the floor for a moment to Bessie. So Bessie, would you like to jump in? You'll have to unmute though.
Thank you, Anne. Thank you very much. And I'm so happy to see all of you. I'll try to be very short. What I think is that a leader leads by example. Do as I do, not as I say. Because people remember what you do, not what you say. You have to be inspiring. A manager does things right, but a leader does the right thing. And what you have to do is be honest, follow whatever the rules are, but keep everybody aware of their values. The group is a collective. You are there just to inspire, to guide, but always keep in mind that everybody that is with you, they are not behind. As they say, don't walk next to me, not behind me. The leader has to be together with the group, and they have to be enthusiastic, inspiring, and leading by example. Thank you.
Thanks, Bessie. All right, so we heard lots of different views on leadership today with a lot of overlap in many areas in which we can all agree, and a room full of inspiring leaders right here. So lovely to see you all in this context, especially. I think one of the things I heard the most was ethics, doing the right thing, doing what you know in your heart is right, even if it's not necessarily going to get you ahead in politics or in the politics of BPW. But that we can develop a lot of leadership skills and we can have certain talents we seem to have been born with. Some are more charismatic and more leader oriented than others. But at the end of the day, letting our ethics guide us above all those talents and skills is probably the essence of leadership, at least from what I've heard today. And I would agree. So on that note, another tiny aspect of leadership is keeping time. Maybe not rigidly, but we like to keep these to an hour if possible. Some of us in the far, I can't say Eastern, it's East from me, but the world is round. But some of us in the Eastern part of Asia-Pacific, like Helen, is in the early morning hours now. Others of you woke up especially at 5 a.m., I think, Bessie, to be here. Maybe you want to go back to sleep. So we do try to end on time. I want to thank everybody from the bottom of my heart for being with us for this next round of leadership webinars. And we really look forward to seeing you month after month after month after month. And everyone, please be well and safe. Bye for now.